You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 219, the number one lesson from 2023. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, Breakup Coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, beautiful brave hearts. How is everyone doing? I am excited to be here with you today. I am sick. I think I got a cold from a kiddo at skating. And my voice sounds different, so I apologize, but I'm very excited to talk with you today inside of Braveness, inside of the Braveheart Academy portal. Every day I've been teaching this mini lesson. There's like 200 plus of you in there, and it's been so fun. And we're doing activities and mini lessons each day and a big giveaway at the end. But long story short, I've been using, a lot of the things that I've learned in the last year to produce content every day for this series that I'm doing. And I had this epiphany as I was writing out some of the content around kind of like what my major lesson was this year in 2023. And I wanted to talk to you about it today. And first, I just want to say, for those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome. My name is Dorothy. I'm known primarily as Breakup Coach Dorothy. I talk a lot about my big breakup that I went through in 2016, and you've really hit the lottery in finding like the best breakup resource with this podcast. It is like the Netflix for breakups. You have short, powerful, to the point episodes that give you exact next steps on how to get over your ex and how to build a life that's bigger and better than the one that you had with your ex. Now, I just want to preface that with saying today's episode is a little bit different. So I would maybe even start with just episode 1 so you get the vibe of what you can find on this podcast. This is a super useful podcast, but this episode is just going to be a little bit different. So I'm very excited that you're here. Welcome. And for those of you who have been around for a while, first off, can I just say thank you? I love you all so much. I've now been doing this work since 2019, so that's like a solid 5 years at this point. And I went through a heck of a lot in the last year. I was recovering from a 13-week miscarriage, and that genuinely took a year for my body to physically recover from. My engagement fell apart because of the pregnancy and miscarriage. And then I obviously moved out and I bought a house, and I went through that entire transition. And I can say after all of it, I am feeling so good. I feel the most peace in my life that I have felt in a very long time. I'm very grateful for that crumbling. It was an unreal amount of loss and devastation, but I'm also just so proud of it, and I'm proud of what has really transpired since then, and I'm really excited to talk to you about at least the number one lesson I learned in this past year. So I also want to preface that with all of that, in October of 2022, I was at a work retreat and my goals were big, you guys. It was supposed to be my $1 million year, baby Marilyn would be born, and I'd be getting married. 3 M's, millionaire mama and married. But within the last 2 months of 2022, all of that really fell apart and it happened very quickly. And I bring all of that up because I think it's important to this number one lesson that I want to talk about that actually unfolded is, because I had this expectation of what 2023 would be, and it looked very, very different than what I thought it was going to be. So I just want to start by saying the number one lesson that I learned last year, or this year, still in 2023 as I'm recording this, was learning to love and play the cards that I was given in life. And really learning to love what I already have. And I understand that this, at a surface level, can feel like a very cliche topic. We hear about it a lot, right? You've got to learn to love what is. But I feel like I look at it a little bit differently. And one of the main reasons I think we resist loving what is is because we don't want to settle or get lazy by accident, right? And here's the thing, my friend. The universe will not let you settle even if you tried. There's literally no way. What's meant for you will find you, and there's nothing you can do to mess it up or keep it from you. But this has been the number one lesson of 2023 for me, was really learning to love what I currently have, which was a level of true abundance. It's been absolutely mind-blowing and life-changing for me. And I love what I have at this moment. If I never accumulate one more thing in my life, and when I say one more thing, I mean one more accomplishment or success or a baby, whatever, I feel so much peace around it. And to be honest, I've never really felt that level of peace before. I was always the type that would continue to strive and hustle and create, and do more and get what I want, like create what I want, no matter what. And listen, I'm always here for that. I love that, but also now it's with a like different background energy of I love what I have right here and right now, so much so that I get to create and create and create with no pressure of it has to be something. And one of the ways that I did this was really learning to create the experiences I desire, as well as experience the feelings I think that experience will bring me, with the tools and resources that I actually have in this present moment. What? I think we've gotten into this like habit where we have to go out and get things we don't have to experience the life that we want to experience. So, for example, a very tangible way that I can just lay this out for you is baby Marilyn. And again, for those of you who are new to the podcast, this might not make any sense to you right now, so I apologize. I highly recommend listening to at least episode 1 before you dive into this one. But baby Marilyn is a manifestation that is not currently in my physical reality. And I named her. I'm very excited about her, but I do not have physical baby Marilyn yet. And I don't technically, right now, I'm not in this phase where like I don't want to buy a doll and carry it around as if it was baby Marilyn. And no shade on people who do that. That's totally fine. But what I did realize in this last year of, recovering from the miscarriage and really like looking at this from a deeper level is that I do desire to have all the experiences I saw myself having with her the moment I saw the positive pregnancy test. Right? So that is Christmases together, birthdays together, teaching her all that I know. And so a way that I started creating the experiences with what I currently have, the tools and the resources that I currently have now, was I threw my Great Dane, Tinkerbell. She's amazing. She's 130 pounds. She turned 2 in July. And so I threw Tinkerbell the most epic birthday party. Like, amazing birthday party. Everything that I wanted to do for baby Marilyn, I did for Tinkerbell. And I'm also hosting Christmas. This would have been the first Christmas with baby Marilyn. And so I'm hosting Christmas exactly as I would have if she was here. I wanted to invite all the family. I wanted to do stockings and Santa and all of this stuff. I just now decided not to do Elf on the Shelf, but I seriously considered it. But I'm doing all of that. And of course, I've got Tinkerbell, I've got myself, I've got my family, and I'm here and I've got the stockings and I'm doing that same exact experience that I would have if she was here. And I'm teaching kids new things through different organizations. Just like I wanted to pass on my knowledge to baby Marilyn, I am able to do this in skating. I'm able to do this through a bunch of different volunteer organizations that I work through, working with kids. So and now I'm getting like to embrace that motherhood energy through these different experiences, which are the same exact experiences that I wanted to create with baby Marilyn. Another one was like I pictured myself snuggling her in the mornings. And so now I snuggle with Tinkerbell in the mornings and I give myself that extra space and time so that I am not trying to like jump out of bed quickly and rush to get to work. I have luxurious mornings with Tinkerbell and snuggling and experiencing that as if I was a mother of a newborn child. I could go on and on, you guys. Now, this has been a game changer for me because I can see all the areas that I have room to be a better mom and to get to work on those now. And I get to feel the feelings I wanted to have now. And I get to have those experiences that I wanted to have now. And at the same time, I'm still creating physical baby Marilyn, but with a whole lot less pressure or needing or wanting or grasping for her. It's not something that I need. Yes, it's something that I want, and I'm excited and I have a high desire to create that in my physical reality. But I also recognize and realize that I get to experience a lot of these experiences now, which creates a lot less attachment. Now, I want you to think about a couple of things around what I just also explained and described is, what is the message that you're sending the universe? Because something that I've seen a lot of lately is I notice people saying that they want something so badly, but then our actions don't match up to that, and it's extremely confusing to the universe. And so I'll use myself again as an example of at the beginning of the year, I was saying I wanted a baby so badly, and everything in life felt meaningless in comparison to having my child. But what was fascinating is at the same time, it's interesting because within miscarriage, the standard protocol for women, or at least the vibe that I was getting from all the resources that I was being provided with, was that once you've gone through miscarriage, you kind of want to avoid babies, avoid pregnancy announcements, avoid all of these potential triggers that will remind you of the baby that you don't have. And listen, I actually subscribed to that for a second until I realized that is a very different energy and message I'm giving off to the universe, right? I'm sitting there saying I want a baby so badly, but then I'm trying to avoid pregnancy. I'm avoiding celebrating other people who get pregnant. I'm avoiding babies. I'm avoiding being around kids, which is the exact opposite message that I would want to give to the universe. I want to say, I'm ready for babies. I'm ready for kids. I'm surrounded by this. Right? And I was sitting there saying, hey, I want a baby, but I don't want to see people pregnant, and I don't want to be around babies, and I don't want to be reminded of the very thing I want, which makes no sense to me. So I started surrounding myself with kiddos and teaching skating, like I said, helping and volunteering, celebrating my friends and their pregnancies, because honestly, the more my manifestation is around me and other people's lives, it's only making me closer to my own manifestation of that. And it's almost like that cliche thing that we read about in books. If you want to be a millionaire, maybe you should start hanging out with millionaires and seeing how they think and act and do all these things. And it's like, oh, wow, if I want to have a baby, why don't I start hanging out with people who have kids? Who knew, right? It makes so much sense when you see it out in the open like that. And listen, with me saying all this, I just want to make sure that I'm extremely clear. We aren't learning to love what we have now so that we don't go after it in the future or even in the now. We are learning to love what is now so that while we are surprised by the universe and delighted with something better than our mind could even imagine, we get to enjoy the ride there rather than worrying and fretting about it. Okay? I've actually spoken to a lot of spirit baby communicators. And one of my favorite pieces of advice was that when I see others have what I want, instead of feeling envious, really recognizing that that is a sign that I'm actually closer to my own manifestation of that. How good is that? So good. You don't have to be upset about seeing other people getting engaged, or you don't have to be upset about seeing other people in happy, beautiful relationships. You get to see that means you're that much closer to it. That's a sign that you're closer to that manifestation. Oh, I love that. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this number one lesson of 2023 and loving what I actually have is I think something that a lot of people avoid talking about. And I'm just going to say it. But what if your manifestation never appears, or like, and I'm saying manifestation, but like the goal, the outcome that you're creating, whatever resonates most with you. But like worst case scenario, you don't actually create the outcome you want. Like you don't actually get the relationship you want. You don't get the job that you want, whatever that is for you. And I've really thought about this over the last year in my miscarriage healing journey. Like my body had to regulate hormones. I've had consultations with doctors. I did acupuncture. I did body healing. I did craniosacral work, so much body work all year. And it gave me a lot of time to ponder, like, what if I can't have kids? And I'm so glad I explored this, because while I explored it, I found so many beautiful parts of life that do not include children. And it's where I really began recognizing all of the amazing things that I get to do and that are easier without children, and cherishing them now for what they are. Sleeping in until 8:30, being able to get up and go, making decisions solely for myself. There are many women living extremely fulfilling lives without children. And I could totally be one of those women. And I also have a very spiritual approach on this, where if in this lifetime I'm truly not meant to have children, I'm sure there are lifetimes I'll experience having children. My soul will absolutely have a lifetime where I have children. And honestly, I've probably had a lifetime where I've already had children. So it's, again, finding acceptance and or peace, even around like the good parts of not having what it is that your mind thinks you need to have, which is hard to do, because I think we don't even want to go there, because we don't even want to give any acknowledgement that it might not happen. But if you look at that and find peace and acceptance around it, it's just such a wild experience, because then you reduce attachment to it, which I know can be difficult and honestly painful for some to look at, depending on where you are in your journey. So don't push yourself to do that. But halfway through my miscarriage healing, I was really ready to begin exploring that internally, and it really helped move and shift so much for me. And long story short, I have a lot of eggs and I have very healthy ovaries, and I truly believe I will have my baby. But before I had any of the evidence to like back it all up, I was exploring all options and getting to a place where I loved all of those options: kids, no kids, surrogate, adoption, foster, all of it. I was like, how can I love any of these options? And from that place, I felt at peace and free, because I was no longer tied to a how or attached to a what. So I want you to take this and try to apply this to your breakup or divorce. How could loving the cards I was given actually help me? Which reminds me, remember, we were given cards, and that's only half of it, right? The other half is how well you play those cards that you were given. And you're going to be better at playing the cards if you're not attached to winning, but rather committed to winning. So here are some reflection questions I gave my Bravehearts for one of the days during Bravemas, where we were talking about this topic, that I feel like may be beneficial for you to journal through. The first one is, how can I love what I do have right now? Right? Is this breakup or divorce, like in this breakup or divorce, what do I actually love right now about this? It's not all bad. What is it that is fun, right? Same thing with dating. While I'm dating or while I'm single, what's great about this? And what do I get to do now that perhaps wouldn't be as easy when I'm in a relationship? Because honestly, you have no idea when this ends. You might meet your person tomorrow and then bam, you're in that relationship for the rest of your life and you'll never be single again. Like, what? That's wild to think about. I have so many Bravehearts who reach out to me as they get married, who say a part of them misses that version of themselves before the relationship. So make sure you don't take it for granted. Another question that I guess it's a couple of questions mixed into one, but what are the feelings I want to be experiencing, and what are the experiences I want to be having? And sometimes you need to get really specific about this. Like, what specifically did you think you'd have with your ex or with the partner you want that you feel like you can't have on your own right now. Another question to look at is, how are the tools and resources I have right now helpful for this? So what tools and resources, aka the cards that you were dealt, are actually super helpful for this right now? For me, it was my job and Tinkerbell. I had a lot of ways that I was being set up to be a mom, and I got to use those things as training wheels to get better and more organized before baby actually arrives. Another question is, what can I create with what I already have? So truly think about this. This is so cool. Once you open your mind up to it, how can I create those in love moments with other people and myself, even if I haven't found my forever partner? For me, this looked like having a birthday party for Tinkerbell, right? Like I would for my baby. But for you, if you're going through a breakup and you wanted to celebrate like a big accomplishment at work, you could do it with your friends, or you could do it on a first date, or you could ask your crush to celebrate with you. Find a way to make it happen with whatever cards you actually were dealt in a way that aligns with you. And another last question that I want to talk about is, what do I love about what I already have? So what do I love about what I already have? Just like I realized I loved being able to sleep in, I love my freedom, I love having extra time for Tinkerbell. There's so much I do love about the life that I live right now. But as I wasn't slowing down to, one, acknowledge all of that, and then two, appreciate it while I had it. Because once I do have a baby, it's not that I won't have those things in my life anymore, but it will look a lot different. And I know my brain will, I actually know my brain well enough that I know it's going to look back and say, see, this was better. So dramatic. But now I can say, hey, I soaked up every ounce of that, and I did not take that for granted. And I know that deep down in my bones, and that feels really, really good. Just like when you're sick, now I'm sick, right? And I'm sitting there thinking like, I took breathing out of both nostrils for granted. But I know now, once my body's going to be healthy, I'm going to be like, I am not going to take that for granted again. I am so excited to be able to breathe. All right. Anyways, my brave hearts, that's what I have for you today. I know today's episode was a little bit different than normal, but I just wanted to check in with y'all and share some of my own personal growth over this past year as we close out and move into 2024. Not all years are quantum jumps or these huge, big shifts. So sometimes, I don't know if anyone else is out there resonating with me with this. Maybe your year wasn't like this epic growth year where you saw a lot of results. Sometimes it's a simple healing and resting and cocooning and finding peace within that. And I found that for me was just everything I needed, which is ironic because I also said last year at the very end of the year, thinking going into 2023, I was like, I want this year to be simple. And I just used that word. I felt like this year was simple. It wasn't like huge, extreme growth. Like we had a lot of growth in a lot of ways, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was result growth. It was more of this internal healing that feels so good. And I feel so calm and at peace right now with what is, that I'm excited to see what can blossom from being content with what I have right now. And I'm really excited. I feel like I'm just planting these seeds in this garden, and this garden is so fertile, and I cannot wait to see what takes off. But I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful day. I would love to know what your number one lesson was in 2023, and I will talk to you next time. If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you'd like to learn how to fast forward getting over your ex without spending months or years feeling angry, jealous, or unlovable, I would love to personally invite you to participate in our free on-demand video training, where we share 3 mind-blowing moments that will forever change your experience with your breakup or divorce. Come check it out at breakupcoachdorothy.com.